I think the biggest misunderstanding about productivity is that it's about getting more work done and putting more hours in. Being productive is figuring out how to produce your best work in the least amount of time and optimizing your process. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about some principles, some tactics, and some tools that I've personally found helpful to allow me to do all of this extra stuff with my time. So the first step to being productive in architecture is to have a routine. So what I mean by this is to have, for example, a specific time of the day that you wake up and a specific time of the day that you sleep. Research have found that waking up early will both alleviate depression and help your mental health. The work is more productive and better as mornings have less distractions. Maybe you treat it as an interval, so you work every 3 hours and then you have a 10-minute or 15-minute break. I've heard this in every productive video, and I've bought countless of journals and diaries, and I never saw the actual benefit of them. What I found is that you have to find the journal that works for you. So I bought this journal from Etsy and I completely love it. My previous journals were way too big, but this is the perfect size and it has so many pages. It's so soft. Like when I first got it, quality of it was so amazing that it really makes me want to write in it. So what I do with a journal or my diary is I'll start off backwards. So I'll work from my deadline. Wherever I am in the design process, whichever time frame I have, I'll say, okay, I've got 2 or 3 weeks until the deadline, and I'll be breaking that assignment into smaller tasks, and each task will be allocated in a certain time of day. So I will think about that task, how long will it take, 2 hours, 3 hours, maybe the full day. Don't feel bad if, for example, you wrote this task will take you 2 hours and it took you 3 or 4. It's okay. You're only just starting to work in this kind of way. So what you need to do is assess, why did this task take you longer than you expected? Was it something out of your control, or was it something that you can work on for next time? Also, give themes to your day in the planner with only a specific task to focus on. Themes could be different assignments or set skills. So Monday is sketching, Tuesday is presentation, Wednesday is lectures, and Thursday is research. So if you have an assignment that's worth 20% and then another assignment that's worth 5%, then you kind of know which assignment that you need to focus on more and which assignment that you can spend less time on. If you want to learn more about productivity, I'd suggest watching the multitude of classes on Skillshare. And if you don't know, Skillshare is an online learning community for creatives where millions come together to take the next step in their creative journey. They offer thousands of inspiring classes for creatives and curious people on topics including illustration, design, photography, video, and more. And if you are interested in productivity, this is a great class by Ali Abdal on the principles and tools to boost your productivity. He shares the productivity equation, myths, laws, and habits of productivity with over 30,000 students. Skillshare is also incredibly affordable as the annual subscription is less than $10 a month. And as always, the first 1,000 people to use the link in the description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership so that you can explore your creativity. As much as I try to create a system for my files, I always use a different one whenever I'm creating a new file. If your desktop looks like this, you and I need to have a chat. Your files should not be sitting in random places on your desktop. Each file needs to be in a separate folder that represents it. Your filing system needs to be expandable, easy to use, and logical. I like to separate my documents into categories such as work, university, and my life. You can add more files depending on your needs, and then the subfolder names should be specific, using few words if possible. Having clutter in your digital life is equally as bad as having clutter or distractions in your working space. So make sure it's in a quiet place if you are a person that cannot work in a busy environment. Make sure your desk is away from your bed, or maybe there's at least a separation. Make sure there's good ergonomics. So I've had the worst chair that you can possibly imagine for the last 4 years, I think. And I swear I never sat on my desk because of that chair. It was the cheapest chair I could afford at that time, and it was very uncomfortable. I ended up buying a backrest and then buying a separate table to put on the floor and sit and study on the floor, which if I added all of that money together, I could have bought a better quality chair that actually feels comfortable to sit in, and it actually makes me want to sit on my desk, like this chair right now. When I struggle with finding motivation to do my assignments, I'll tell myself that, Risha, sometimes it's not about motivation, it's about discipline. My procrastination stems from perfectionism. I always got worried that I won't perform the task properly, and that anxiety came from me just wanting to escape whatever it is. So if I had an assignment, I would pray that something happened and I don't have to do that assignment anymore. So that's why I would procrastinate. I'll tell myself, Risha, is it really realistic that this assignment will just vanish? I also say to myself, will I ever feel motivated to do that task? If the answer is yes, like in an hour or two, maybe the lighting is not right, I have a busy environment and I can't focus, then I'll just leave it for then. But if the answer is no, I will never want to do this essay, I really hate this, then I'm just gonna do it right away and just get it over with. I realize that me saying that I want to escape an assignment might sound like I am not enjoying architecture or that I can't handle it. But let's be real here. Every job will have some aspects that you hate doing, whether that's admin work, writing essays, or reports. When it comes to timing, make sure that you do your hardest task first, or maybe the task that the rest of your work depends on. In the past, I used to do all of the smallest tasks first because I used to think, well, if I do a lot of small tasks, that might motivate me to do a large task. But actually, by the time I'm finished doing all of those small tasks, I'm just not motivated to do that big task. When it comes to multitasking, I'd say do multitask and don't multitask. What I mean by this is don't focus on two things at the same time because you will not do anything properly. Do it right or do it twice. What I mean by do multitask is sometimes, for example, if you're waiting on a render, then take that time to do something else. Also, whenever you have a free time, you know, when uni starts, you kind of have this week of not doing too much. I use that time to do a lot of prep work. But what I mean by this is if you take a look at a chef, for example, he'll need to wash his vegetables, chop them before he cooks them. You preheat the oven before you actually put anything inside. You prime the canvas before you actually paint anything, and it's the same thing with architecture. It can be some sketches, it can be research, it can be drawings. For example, if you are doing an essay, prep work would be, for example, to find all of the resources for that essay, but not necessarily maybe type in anything. So I want you to look at your current design process and see ways to make this more efficient. I used to waste so much time doing my projects in AutoCAD because I would draw the wall thicknesses, draw the windows, make sure they're drawn properly. But actually, for example, if I had used Revit, then the wall and the thicknesses would already be drawn for me. And then I get sections, elevations really easily. And if you use Revit, you can also collaborate between your group members. So instead of wasting time sending each other CAD files, for example, not knowing which CAD file is the latest, if we had one Revit model, which is the master file, and everybody else was editing that, then we're not wasting time on sending each other images and files. And this goes with a lot of software, so learning shortcuts on your keyboard, learning shortcuts on Photoshop and different software, learning, for example, how to edit image in a non-destructive way in Photoshop, which I've talked about many times in my videos. Use old drawings, so sometimes I really liked feature wall that I did in one of the projects, so I want to use it again in a different project, and I'll find that file and then just use that drawing instead of wasting my time and drawing it again. That goes with CAD blocks. Thank you once again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm Risha and I'll see you next time.